Hello, beautiful, beautiful souls of the System program. I'm so freaking excited that you are here. I'm so excited to share everything with you. So, System is about building the foundation within ourselves. We as women are so strong and powerful, and we can hold so much, but it is so easy for that to crumble if our foundation is not strong. When I planned this and scheduled for this program to start, I did not realize that it was a full moon. And not only is it a full moon, it is a very powerful supermoon, which is apparently this supermoon is all about releasing and foundations and decluttering. Ironically, that is a lot of what day one is about. And I did not realize it. Talk about your synchronicities. Divine intervention, as you will. Okay, so we're gonna get started. I'm so excited. There's so many good things coming over the next 6 calls. I'm really excited to share it with you. To start with, I want to read you a post I made a few days ago. Oh, let me find it real quick. I thought I had it ready, but I guess I didn't. Where is it? Here it is. Okay. So this is a post I wrote a few days ago while I was working on everything for day one, not realizing about the full moon today or what the full moon in Capricorn meant, because apparently that's what it is. So this is the post. Our life is a house. We are the foundation. The stronger the foundation, the bigger the house. The more balanced our foundation is, the stronger it is. Fear, doubt, worry, low self-confidence, lack of self-worth, little emotional intelligence, overwhelm, stress, little to no standards and boundaries, all put cracks in our foundation. With so many cracks, the weight of the house will come down. A strong foundation has the strength to hold up the house, a full house, with a spouse, kids, family, friends, work, and play. A strong foundation holds a big enough house that there is more than enough room for everyone and everything, with the ability to add more. We are the foundation of our lives. How strong is your foundation? Like I said, I did not realize about the full moon when I wrote that. That was just something that came to my mind. But that is a lot of the things that we're going to talk about. That's like the whole thing of this course is to build our own internal foundation. Women are naturally so freaking strong and powerful. We have the ability to grow and create life, to juggle. Women juggle things like crazy. Family, the home, our spouse, relationships, partners. We do it all. But the stronger, and sometimes it gets super overwhelming. I used to be so overwhelmed all the time. I was a stay-at-home mom for 11 years. My job was the home and the child. And that is honestly the hardest job I have ever done in my life. And I have worked different kinds of jobs. And that is, I was in the flippin' military out of high school. And being a stay-at-home wife and mother was the hardest job because you don't get a break ever. Everything is reliant on you. It is you as a stay-at-home wife and mom. I have so much respect for the women that do it with multiple kids because let me tell you, I struggled with one. It was hard with just one child. And I don't know how some women, I know women that have like 6, 7, 8, 9 kids. And I'm like, how the F do you do it? I wanted to like rip my hair out with one. It was a lot. It's the hardest job. You are the cook and the maid and the nanny and the taxi. And I mean, you are everything. And then you still are expected to be everything to your husband or your partner, whoever that may be. You and the women that work as a mom, oh my goodness. I get torn. And please don't take this the wrong way. I don't know if that's harder or if that's easier. I'm a working mom now. Obviously. However, I am a single mom, so I still figure out how to juggle all of it myself. But so many women work full-time or even part-time, and then they come home and still are like a stay-at-home mom. They spend all their time taking care of the kids and the house and the cooking and the cleaning and the shopping and the bills and trying to be everything for everyone. And it gets really, really overwhelming. And as a society, we have been raised to do it. And so many women do it so beautifully and gracefully. Some really struggle. There was a time in my life that I struggled with it. It is so much easier for me now. And I'm a single mom, but I do know that I have a major benefit not all women have. We share 50-50 custody. We do week on, week off. So I have my week where my daughter is here and I am primarily mom mode. My focus is my daughter. I do still work, and let me tell you, it is a lot easier during the school year because I can do whatever I have to do while she's at work. Or at school, I can do whatever work I have to do while she is at school. But then in the evenings, it's just us time. Whatever it is, in the winter time, we do a lot of like movie marathons. My daughter loves, like obsessed with Harry Potter and Marvel movies, which I'm okay with because I love those too. I'm just grateful that she finally outgrew the things like Dora and what else was there? Frozen, Caillou. Oh man, we went through it all. My Little Pony. And I mean, they're absolutely adorable shows and they are great for little kids. But when you are a stay-at-home mom and you are watching the same thing on repeat over and over all day long because your child is not old enough to go to school, you get worn out and tired of it real quick. Really quick. My daughter was not in school yet when Frozen came out. And she was so excited for that movie. And I bought it the day that it came out. And I am not kidding you. We watched it like 18 times. Just one after another. On repeat. And after a couple of days of non-stop Frozen, I was already over it. It is a very cute movie. I love it. But I was over it. I was so over it. So luckily, she's 12. She's into a little different things now, which is more some of the things that I actually enjoy. So I don't mind the movie marathons anymore. But then when she's not with me, that's when I'm really in work mode and taking care of whatever it needs to do. It's also when I really focus on myself, and I do make time for it when I have her. And when I started working on myself and focusing on myself, I still had her full time. I just figured out how to make it work. And it's different for everybody. And so not everything that I'm going to say is going to resonate for you or work for you. Just take what does, try what lights you up, and like, oh, I could do that. I could make that work, or I could try that. Just try it. The thing is with kids, mine, when she was little, she was such a mama's girl, and she still is. But she's 12. She's over that stage of wanting to spend all of her time with her mom. She would rather spend more time with her friends now. But she was such a mama's girl. She wanted mama with her all the time. She always wanted me to play with her, and we did. And I am so grateful I got to be a stay-at-home mom with her and have that time with her. But she had learned to be like this with me. So when I started working on myself and doing things for myself and really doing a lot of the things that we're going to learn in this program, I wasn't just training myself on how to put myself first and make time for myself. It was also training my daughter to be respectful of that and to allow that time and space. And there's a lot of things that I did that I included her in, and she loved it. She absolutely, my daughter is a girly girl. So if I wanted to like have a night where I'm doing like a hair mask and a face mask and paint my nails or whatever, my daughter would do it with me. She loved it. Some of the meditations I did, not all of them, but some of the meditations I do, my daughter loves them and she'll do them with me. So that's one of the things we're really going to get into is like some of the stuff that you do is going to benefit you, but some of it you can incorporate with the kids for those of you that don't have a lot of time for yourself. I started really talking to my daughter about the importance of self-care and the benefits, and just like most kids, they don't always listen to what we say, but they watch. They're always watching. They learn so much more by what we do than what we say. And seeing the changes in her mom and seeing the benefits and seeing how much more relaxed and calm and how much smoother things went. I wasn't so overwhelmed and stressed out all the time and things like that. It sparks an interest in them. So one of the things that I love to do for myself is I do my own little goddess bath, and I turn the lights off or I have these fairy lights. I think that's what they're called. They're like the battery powered lights or whatever. I have those all over my house, and I have packages of them just waiting to be used when those ones stop working, or when my cat decides that it is going to be a chew toy, because she has done that numerous times. I like to take those in the bathroom and turn those on. I have bubbles that I put in there. Anytime I get flowers, I like to buy flowers, fresh roses sometimes for myself, and I will save them and dry them. And same with when my daughter gets them, like she did a play a couple months ago and she got flowers for it, so we dry them. And when I take my baths, my little goddess bath, I like to put some Epsom salt, some bubbles, some flower petals, light a candle. I make it a whole thing, and it is so freaking amazing and calming and relaxing. And the way that it just energizes that feminine energy, our soul, it is like nothing else. And my daughter is at a point now, she does it all the time. She loves it. She absolutely loves it. One of her favorite shopping trips is shopping for bath bombs. She loves it. And we're going to get way more into that later on. But there are ways to incorporate it. We are just built to be strong. So strong. Maybe not the physically strong the way men are built. They're built to be very physically strong and muscular. That's why they have to open like the pickle jar sometimes, We are meant and built to be emotionally strong. But so many of us are not raised that way, or raised with that knowledge, or taught how to build that strong foundation within ourselves. I definitely was not. And I was in my mid-30s before I learned how. And I'd been through a lot in my life, and I knew emotionally there were times I was a mess, yes. There's so many things. But I also knew that I was stronger than many of the people that I knew, because I had survived so much, and I didn't want to be like my mom. So for those of you that don't know, when I was a child, growing up, my mom was a drug addict, and I went through a lot growing up. And then she got clean for a while, and then when my grandma passed, she relapsed and walked away from everything that she had built for like 21 years. And she had like a great career, husband, stepkids that she raised, all kinds of things, and she just walked away from it all. And about a year and a half ago, she died of a drug overdose. So it ultimately took her. And I went through so much as a child of an addict. And growing up, I lived with my mom full time. My brother lived with my dad. And I didn't have much of a relationship with my dad. And a big part of that was due to things with my mom, which is another story for another time. But my dad always he worked for the same company for like ever. There was a couple of years that he worked, the company he worked for, he worked in the sorting yard driving a log stacker, and he did it forever until the company closed that yard. And then he got another job for a little while, and then the company brought him back to work in a different yard, and he retired from there. He's always had a good, stable job. Always. My brother and me had two very different childhoods. Yeah, I could talk forever about that stuff, and that's not always the point of today. So, oftentimes, it takes something significant in our life before we even realize how strong we actually are. The stuff that we are able to survive is amazing. I knew I was strong. My daughter, numerous people had told me and made comments over the years that I was one of the strongest people that they'd ever met. And they didn't know how I survived everything I went through without taking the route my mom took, basically. And for me, it was simple. I lived that growing up, and I didn't want to live it anymore. And I didn't ever want to become an addict. I never wanted to have a child and put a child through that life. That was my motivation. And then something happened, and the result of it made me realize I was much stronger than I ever thought. And I'm going to tell you a little story. When my mom relapsed, she got this boyfriend, and he was, lack of better terms, a horrible person. He was very, very abusive. He's the one that got her addicted to meth, and he was just horrible. I had to distance myself from my mom. I didn't want to be around that, and I sure did not want my daughter to be around it. And there were some things that happened, but there was one time that he got abusive with my mom, and he hurt her really bad. But this was the first time it was in public. It was at a park. And there were witnesses. So after hurting her, he stole her car, and he was on the run for 5 weeks while the police tried to find him and catch him. My mom even tried, just meet me here, let's talk. She tried everything that she could think of to get him. And they did. The SWAT team did. Yeah. While he was sleeping in a vehicle. But they did get him. However, in that 5 weeks, he would email her. I don't know why he decided to do that. There were over 200 and some emails. And he knew in that moment, with what was going on, that I think he suspected the cops were involved. And so he knew that he couldn't physically get to my mom or do anything to physically hurt her at that point in time. So he started threatening me and my daughter in these emails to my mom, because he knew hurting us was going to hurt her. So then, and my mom was absolutely terrified of this man. So of course she was scared. I hadn't talked to her in months because of her repeatedly going back and choosing to stay with him in that lifestyle. But then all of a sudden my mom sent me screenshots of a Facebook message. She started getting messages from this person that was supposedly not him, supposedly somebody he knew, who was the head guy, I guess, for this biker group, saying that they owe him, the boyfriend, a favor because of whatever. And the favor was going to be that they were going to take out me and my daughter. There was pictures of my house sent to my mom. At the time, I also had my real estate license. So if you Googled my name, my cell phone number, and the real estate office would pop up. So with the name of the real estate office, if you Google the real estate office, Google's going to show you a picture of the office. That also got sent to my mom. Being in the state that she was in at that point in time. And they were saying, these messages were saying, here's the proof. I'm watching your daughter. I know exactly where she lives. I know where she works, blah, blah, blah. My mom was freaking out. She was terrified. So she sent me the screenshots of all of it. Instantly, my first reaction was fear. And I have to protect my daughter. And I was still married at the time. So I showed all of it to my husband, which is my daughter's dad. And he, at first he was like, you need to get a restraining order. We talked about everything that we needed to do. We started taking safety precautions and putting things in place. And this went on for, I don't know, like 2 or 3 days. And then, I was scared. I really thought that there was like this group of people watching me, to hurt me. And more importantly, hurt my daughter. And I was pissed at the same time that my mom's BS was affecting the livelihood of me and my child, because I had done a lot to get away from her and that, and not be associated with that. I wanted a much different life, and we had it for a while. She chose to go back. I didn't want to be associated with that stuff. I've never been a drug addict, and I never have any intentions on becoming one. But I know from being a kid, I was surrounded by people who were addicts. And I tell you what, there's some of the best people I ever met in my life were some of the addicts that hung around my house when I was a kid. But I also met some very, very not good people because of it. And I know that this boyfriend that she had was one of those very not. He was like the worst of the worst of the worst people that you could ever meet. So, after a few days, there was the little pro rodeo thing was going on in town, because I live in a country rodeo farming community, and it's a big deal. Close family friends of ours help sponsor it. They participate in it, and so my husband at the time was like, let's just try and just go watch everybody, try and have a night where we can relax and everything. And we had his mom watch our daughter, because none of these people knew where she lived, and so I knew my daughter was safe there. And honestly, in that moment, I was like, she's probably safer at her grandma's than she is at our house anyways, which, looking back, probably isn't true either, because we had guns in our house. We both know how to shoot. Like I said, I was in the military. I'm a great shot, so we'd have been fine. But we were at the rodeo, and I don't know why, suddenly I decided to search this guy's name that was sending these messages to my mom. And then I thought about it, and I looked at my husband, and I was like, we painted our house 5 months ago. And he's like, yeah, so? And I'm like, the pictures being sent to my mom claiming they're watching our house is not what our house looks like. And I really thought about it for a second, and I'm like, we had only been in our house a couple of years. I'm like, those pictures are the pictures that you seen when the house was listed for sale. And because it was for sale, it was the same ones that the county had when you looked it up on the county tax information. I'm like, but that's not what it looks like. The lady that we bought our house from had landscaped. Like, she was really big into landscaping. There were flowers and shit everywhere. But they were very overgrown, and we liked it very simple. And I was like, the picture still has all the flowers that we ripped out of the yard before we painted it. I'm like, if they're watching our house and sending these pictures, why are these pictures old ones? That's not what our house looks like anymore. We didn't even paint our house the same color. My house was white when we bought it. We painted it blue. I'm like, it looks like a completely different house. It's not new pictures. I'm like, and really, if you Google my name, it's going to attach it to the real estate office, which in our logo and advertising for the real estate office, there is a picture of the front of the office because it is a really cool old brick house that has been turned into a real estate office. And so it is used in advertisement a lot because it is a really cool old house. It's beautiful. And that's when I was like, I want to look up this guy's name. So I get on Facebook while at the rodeo, mind you. I did all this while at the rodeo. I get on Facebook and I type the name in, and 2 profiles popped up. One of them I recognized right away from the screenshots. And I clicked on it because one did not have a picture, one did. And the one that did not have a profile picture is the one that was sending my mom the messages. And when I clicked on it, there was a ton of posts over the last couple of weeks, all about my mom. Her name was mentioned in every one of them. And I knew this is the one that has been messaging my mom, saying that they're watching me. But then I looked at the other one, and the new one, I call it new because it looked like it, whoever it was, didn't have it for a long time. It was not something that somebody had for like years or so. The other one had a profile picture, and then when you went to the picture, there was, and like clicked on the profile or whatever, like it was obvious that this person had this Facebook profile for a very long time. There was tons of posts and pictures with his friends and his family, his kids, grandkids. He did ride a motorcycle. There was pictures of him with his bike. And I just had this gut feeling in that moment that the messages were not this guy. The messages were, in fact, the mom's boyfriend. And in that moment, I sent the screenshots, all of them, to the person who had their Facebook profile for a long time. And I told him why I was reaching out, that supposedly he is, going to take out me and my daughter. And my husband told me I was fucking crazy. And I told him, I was like, if it's true, he already knows how to find me. I'm not giving him any other information. And I was very respectful, and I was like, I'm so-and-so's daughter, and this is what is going on, and here's screenshots of the messages, and I just need to know if this is really you. And I didn't expect to hear anything back. And as soon as I hit send, I just looked at my husband, and I was like, oh, I just did that. I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? And I can't take it back now. And he's like, I can't believe you just did that either. I'm like, no, I can't. I'm like, but I'm kind of desperate at the moment. I need some answers. I don't know. And to my surprise, about an hour later, I got a message back from the guy. We ended up having a conversation through Messenger for an hour and a half. And he was like, I'm going to tell you right now 2 things. First off, that absolutely is not me. Me and my crew, we don't do things like that. He's like, but I do know who that guy is. And I don't like that he is pretending to be me. He's like, if anything, me and my friends do what we can protect women and children. And you are innocent, and I am so sorry that you are going through this. He gave me his phone number, and he's like, if you ever need anything, feel free to reach out. And in that moment, I made a new friend. And to this day, my now ex-husband, he says, you were the only person that I know that went from a biker crew going to kill them to being their friend in a matter of 2 hours. And I'm like, That's because the killing part wasn't actually true. But that was the moment I realized the mama bear is strong, but as women, we're so much stronger than we're led to believe. We really are, because I guarantee in that position, so many of you would have had the strength, and you may not realize it or think it, but you would have had the strength to do the exact same thing. But we're going to find that strength. We're going to build that foundation without you having to go through some kind of life-changing, threatening situation. As a society, we don't teach women and raise women how to do that on their own. And don't get me wrong, there are some families that do. And for those of you that do or have or whatever, more freaking power to you, because there's so much I wish I knew before I was in my 30s. And since learning it and applying it and living it every day, my life has changed so much. And I know I went through hell in my life growing up. I went through so much, especially with that whole situation, because that was not the only crazy messed up story I could tell you that came from the result of my mom and that man. But just, I know everything that I went through was so that I could help teach women how to be strong, how to build that foundation, how to learn who they are deep down, not what society tells them. I'm here to help women, and everything I've been through has given me the knowledge and the tools in order to do that, and to do it in a way that they don't have to go through something to find that in themselves, because we all have it. Believe it or not, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. It does not matter what ethnicity you are, none of it freaking matters. We all have the ability. Men and women have so much more to them than they realize, and especially women. And we are going to really dig in to a lot of that in this program. And the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to create a space that is just for you. Even if you only use it while on these calls and doing the work and that kind of stuff, create a space just for you. And when you're on these calls, just listen. You can go back and rewatch them and take notes all you want. But I ask you, the first time you watch it, each one, just lean back and listen, because there's so many things that you're going to hear that you might miss if you're preoccupied taking notes. So I want you to create a space that is just quiet and make it magical. Make it beautiful. Make it something that makes you feel good. I'm right now in mine. Mine happens to be my bedroom because there are times my daughter's here and we don't have a lot of private space in our home. I like my bedroom. I have Christmas lights You can see him. Oh, way up there. Christmas lights all over the ceiling in my room. And I have, like right now, I have candle going. I don't know if you can hear it. I have music playing on my phone. Relaxing, meditative music. I have my crystals. I'm a very spiritual person, so I have my crystals all over my bed. I have my cat laying here. I'm surrounded with like pictures and pillows and things that make me feel good and beautiful and fluffy. And even when I'm not the one teaching a program, if I'm taking one from one of my mentors, when I'm listening to theirs, like I will still put my makeup on and put like something on that makes me feel good, spray my perfume, just to heighten those senses. Because the more we heighten those senses, it triggers emotions. And we want it to trigger those good, happy emotions in that moment, right? So while we're watching this, we want to feel good. We want to feel good. Because then every time we feel good, every time we listen to the video, every time we sit in that space, it connects it all together. And when things happen in our life, it doesn't matter. You could be doing the goddamn dishes. It doesn't matter. Something will happen and trigger a strong emotion, and your brain, your subconscious, hangs on to that as a memory. And the stronger the emotion is, the more powerful that memory is, and the more powerful it has a hold on you. So we want to start doing that with the positive experiences and the positive emotions and the things that make us feel good. That is literally one of the ways that you rewire neural networks in your brain to change the way that you think. Your thoughts trigger your behavior and your patterns. So the more positive and everything they are, it triggers more positive behavior patterns. You start doing things differently. You start moving differently, talking differently. You're literally changing who you are being. And there's so much more detail that I could go in about that, but we'd be here all freaking day. But it is honestly, it's one of my favorite topics to talk about. So you're going to start with creating your beautiful space, even if it is just taking a freaking goddess bath while you're listening to this, okay? Because the little things that you may not realize you're hearing, your subconscious is going to hold on to it because we're triggering senses. We're feeling good. We are like vibing high energetically while this is going on. And that is where the biggest, most powerful shifts and changes happen. So please create a beautiful little space. Mine is on my bed. Just pick up your room, make the bed, sit on the bed, put a candle, crystals, whatever, few things around you that just in that moment you have your little bubble that makes you feel good. Okay? And you're going to do it for every one of our calls. This is call 1. We have 6. And the other ones are when we're really going to get into the fun stuff. The fun, good stuff. You're going to love it. Love it. So, create your space. The second part, our external reality, our home, our life, our day-to-day is a direct reflection of what is going on internally. So many times, it took me a long time before I knew this because it wasn't something I was taught. When I started learning about manifestation and stuff like that, in the beginning, I wasn't taught that we manifest from our subconscious mind. That is why if you say, I want $5,000, and you create an affirmation or 10 affirmations, whatever, about wanting $5,000, and it doesn't come. Why doesn't it come? Because there's more to it. You can't just sit here and say, I want $5,000, $5,000, $5,000, $5,000. I'm manifesting $5,000. I desire $5,000. But subconsciously, you don't believe you can have it. Guess what? You're either not going to get it, or you do get it. You do get it. But you have beliefs about why you can't have it, why you're not worthy of it, why you're not deserving of it. So, yay! You got your $5,000 and your car breaks down. Or you end up with a $500 power bill and all these other craziness goes on. You get laid off, your husband gets laid off, loses their job, or something happens to take that $5,000 and now it has to go towards the basic necessities or some kind of an emergency, because subconsciously you have all of these reasonings and beliefs as to why you can't have it. So now, you did manifest your money. You also manifested things that were going to take it from you, that were not how you intended on spending the money. And the other part to that is our body, our nervous system. We have to feel safe. If we don't feel safe having it, again, either we're not going to get it or we're going to create a situation. We're going to attract something that takes it away from us. So there's more to it. There's so much more to it. It's only a piece of the puzzle. It is a very important piece. Do not get me wrong. It is a very important piece. But it is only a piece. It is not the whole puzzle. There's other parts. You gotta put them all together. And once you know it all, so easy to do. But that is oftentimes why you, again, don't get it, or you do get it, and then some kind of emergency happens. And I'm just using money because that tends to be the thing people try to manifest the most, is money. The most powerful way to manifest is through your emotions. So if you're constantly saying you want $5,000, but you are worried, stressed, and overwhelmed, and fear and doubt and all these, that's the stuff that you're feeling all the time, and you are constantly in a lack mentality and energy, again, you're not gonna get it. Or you do, and it's gonna be really hard freaking work to get there, and then something takes it away. And we're gonna get way deeper into that. That is one of the calls that we are doing. I believe it is the last call. So we'll get more into that. But remember, there's only a piece of the puzzle. So if you're looking around your home, if you're overwhelmed, your house is cluttered. There's a difference between dirty and cluttered. I make that clear. I'm not claiming or saying that you have a dirty house. Cluttered. Clean out your closet. Women, we're horrible about this. How many clothes in your closet do you wear? How many clothes do you have in your closet that don't fit you? And you hold on to them, and because one day, I'm going to lose that 10 pounds and I'm going to fit in that dress again. And that one day you've been saying for like 3 years, Declutter. The S for today is simplify. That starts with clean shit out. Declutter. Get rid of the garbage. Get rid of the crap you don't use. Get rid of the crap that you don't need. As you are externally clearing that out, you are clearing out the energy internally, because it's all connected. It really is. Whether you, and it, I mean, we can go into the science behind it, but it is all connected together. Clearing space physically clears space mentally. So clean your house. Start with your room. I'm not saying to spend the evening going deep dive cleaning in your house. Start small, taking steps, okay? Start with your closet, start with your bedroom, start in your living room, your kitchen. Just pick a room to start in, but start decluttering and cleaning it out. The other part of that is your mind. When you hold on to things and you have a million different thoughts going on in your head, it is harder to see the bigger picture. It is harder to focus on so many things, because you trigger your nervous system when you get stressed out and overwhelmed. And when we get like that, we get tunnel vision. We do. We get this little teeny tiny little tunnel vision, because when we start feeling all worked up and we're triggering our nervous system, we're kicking our body and our mind into fight and flight. The purpose of that is to keep us safe. It is survival. Survival mode is what it is. In that moment, you get tunnel vision, because it's how to survive in this moment. We can't look long term. We can't look at the bigger picture, because right now our mind and our body is focused on how to survive in this very minute, this second, this hour. How can we survive right now? And I guarantee we have over 70,000 thoughts in a day. Did you know that? 70,000. 95% of those are subconscious. There's 95% playing in the back of our mind that we don't even realize. So the more you're hanging on to shit, the more shit is going on back there. And if it's all negative, Nancy, limiting type of crap, guess what? That's what you're manifesting in your life. Is more of what, because you're focusing on it subconsciously, but you're focusing on it. What you focus on now is what you get next. So when you consciously, with 5% of your brain, focus on something, guess what? Your brain is still being overran by what you don't want instead of what you want. So we need to declutter the mind. The best way, this is my absolute favorite way, and whether you agree or not, or like it or not, I guarantee if you do this, even just for a few weeks, if you do this, it will change your life. I do it every day, multiple times a day. I do it when things happen. I do it when something pops up. And I am sure you have heard it. This is not something new. It is called journaling. Write it out. Take some time. Ask yourself, what is on my mind? I gotta stretch my leg. So many things. Ask yourself, what am I thinking? If you're like, what is on my mind, and nothing is coming up, start writing about your day. Once you get started, more things will pop into your mind. Write it, all of it. Write it out and write it down, because those little things, the little teeny tiny things that you are holding on to mentally that don't need to be there, when you write them out, you're letting them go. You're not holding on to them anymore. Guess what? You're making space in your mind. You're clearing out the mental shit that does not need to be there. It makes things so much easier. It is so much easier to navigate yourself, whether it's day to day, through something that is going on in your life, through work, balancing kids, whatever it is easier to navigate when you are mentally not overwhelmed by shit that you don't need to be hanging on to anyways. Write it out, journal it. If you have to, make a to-do list. If you have certain things you know you have to do tomorrow, instead of constantly thinking about all the things you have to get done, write a freaking list. Write it out. I have lists. I do it on my phone. I use the little note app on my phone. I have 2 lists. Always. I have my to-do list. Like, here's the things coming up that has to be done. And then I have another one. And it is my, shopping list. So my to-do list is as things pop into my head that need to be taken care of. I make my to-do list. I add it to my to-do list. If it is ran out of milk, take a second, write it on my list. Right there in the moment, right there, not trying to remember it later, because 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to forget. Just take a split second in that moment, put it in, write it out, done. Doing it's the little tweaks like that help us to simplify things. But in order to see how and where we can simplify things to not be so overwhelming, we have to declutter the mental, get it off the mind. Journaling is such a powerful and amazing way. There's been so many scientific studies on the benefits of journaling. It is absolutely crazy. I've journaled my whole life, off and on. But I didn't know, when I was a kid, I didn't know how it could benefit me. It was because of my circumstances. I didn't really have anyone I could talk to. So it was my way to talk. And the great thing is, if somebody pisses you off, hurts your feelings, they upset you, journal it. Write it out. Cuss them out. Anything and everything that comes to your mind right then and there in that moment, write it out. As you're doing that, you're allowing yourself the space to feel the emotions that you are feeling. You are getting all the thoughts off of your mind. Together, you just process the entire thing. So by the time you're done, now you are not in a negative emotional state, or shortly after, you start feeling better because you got it out of your system. You start feeling better. You don't have all those icky thoughts and everything clouding your mind. So your mind's not cluttered with that stuff anymore. That now you can sit there and take that step back and be like, okay, here's the solution of how I need to handle this situation. Here's the conversation I need to have with this person. Here's a way to solve the problem and fix it. I can now see my next steps because I'm no longer having the itty bitty little tunnel vision. Now my vision's more like this, which is where we want it to be, all the time. And things are going to happen to shrink it. We want to just bring it back open. So you're going to declutter mentally and physically. The other thing, I want you to take some time and bring awareness. Awareness, you can't change anything that you're not aware of. Really step back and bring awareness to yourself, to your life. Just really write out who you are, how you think, how you, like, anything that comes to your mind about you and your life. Observe it. Don't attach meanings or anything like that to it. Don't feel bad that your life is not the way you want it to be, or you are stressed out all the time. Just be honest. Just honesty. Bring awareness to it and be honest and just observe it. Okay? Don't allow it to attach itself to where you just start looking at it and you're like, oh my God, I'm a fucking terrible person. I'm a horrible mom. I'm not good enough. I'm not doing that. Don't do that. That is not the point of this. The point is to observe it so we can look at it and say, here's where we got to make some changes. Here's what isn't working. Here's where we need to do some work. Here's where we need to dig in. Here's where the crack is in my foundation. And now I know where I need to work to strengthen that. So observe, bring awareness to yourself and your life. That is the first thing. The decluttering and awareness are the first steps to take in order to even be able to see where and how we can simplify anything in our life. And the more we can simplify things, the easier it is to juggle everything that we have. The family, the career, relationships, friendships, fun, ourselves, most importantly. We can hold it all. We as women, we are built to hold it all. We are built to juggle it all. But right now, you got so many balls flying all over the freaking place, you don't know how and where to catch them. And then now they're just falling everywhere. And they're creating a mess, a bigger mess that's stressing you out, because now not only do you have a bigger mess, but you have to be the one to clean it up. So we're going to learn how to juggle everything much better. Much better. I've seen so many women from all different walks of life and all different stages of life juggle the most extraordinary things. Career, family, everything. There's coaches out there. There's one, Reagan Hillier. Like, her tagline is, you absolutely can have it all. Because you can. You absolutely can. You can do it all. You can hold it all. You can. But you have to learn how to juggle it. But in order to even consider juggling it, you have to be strong enough to do it. And we start with simplifying. Like, there's shit I guarantee in your life that doesn't need to be there anymore. Like I said, start cleaning out your closet, clothes. Bring awareness. Bring awareness to friendships, relationships, people that you often talk to and see, even on social media and stuff like that, that feel like they're sucking the life out of you. They feel draining. They don't feel positive and uplifting. Bring awareness to those, because those are where you need to start putting some distance in yourself between you and those people. And we're going to talk more about some of that stuff here in a few days. But that is where I want you to start. I want you to start creating your beautiful, sacred space, however it is you want, wherever in the home you want or can't. It is summertime. At least where I live, it is summertime. Whether it be outside in the fresh air, your bedroom, a bath, something. Make your space. Journal. Bring awareness. Declutter your mind. And work on decluttering your house. And that, I believe, was it for today. So I will add to the group a post with the homework reminder and stuff. And then re-listen. If you were taking notes, because I probably should have said this at the beginning and I didn't, but if you were taking notes through it, I ask you to go back and re-listen without any interference, any note-taking, anything. Just really listen. Just listen to the seeds that I am planting throughout every call, through this whole thing. Listen to it over and over. It's being added on YouTube. There'll be a YouTube link. Because I'll probably delete the actual live, so it's just a YouTube link for later. I don't know about you, I have a smart TV, so I have like access to YouTube from my TV and from my what is it called? The Xfinity Flex box, Apple TV, whatever it is that you have, like the YouTube app. Play the video in the background while you're cleaning, while you are decluttering, whatever it is that you're doing. Listen to it. I do that a lot, especially when I'm taking a course. I will, because you can listen to them 3, 4, 5, 6 times and pick up different things that you missed every time. So I do that a lot. Like I said, I just took a course a few weeks ago from one of my mentors, and it was freaking amazing. I love the woman. And throughout the day, while I was like working and cleaning house or doing whatever when my daughter was at school, I would pull it up on YouTube and I would just kind of play it on repeat in the background, because the more you hear it, the more you hold on to it and it sinks in and start creating new beliefs, start opening your mind to new possibilities and beliefs and things like that out there. So listen to it a few times, play it in the background a couple times. So today's Wednesday. We have a call on Friday is our next one. Yeah. We have tomorrow off. We have one on Friday. And then we have a break for a couple of days. I believe the next one after that is Monday. Because I'm going out of town this weekend, so there's not one over the weekend. I'm going to celebrate my cousin's 40th birthday. Big birthday party planned for her, and so I'm going out of town to spend it with my family, a bunch of my family, so I'm super excited, and then we will get right back into it on Monday. So do your work, create your space. If you don't get to it before Friday, like, do what you can. I'm not saying put it off. The biggest point of all of this is to start prioritizing yourself. That is like one of the major things to all of this whole program is prioritizing yourself. And as women, we tend to not do that, especially when we have children and careers and homes and whatever other million other things that you have going on. There were times in my life I juggled a lot, taking care of my family and my grandma when she got sick. When my mom died, I had to take care of all that stuff. And like, there's always something that makes us have a lot to juggle. It happens. It's part of life. But we have to learn how to, in the midst of the chaos, make ourselves step back and put ourselves first. Because we have to fill our own cup before we can give to others. The more we do it, the better we are. The better we become. The easier the little things are to handle. The more little shit doesn't even bother you anymore. And then it makes everything else so much easier to do. And we're going to get into all of that a lot more. I went a little over. 1:11. Hoping to keep all of these within like an hour. So I already went a little over, and that's okay. It is what it is. I feel good about everything that came out. I think I went over everything I had on my little. I'm just checking my notes. Because we are decluttering, cleaning shit out, and it is a full moon. I also, to add to your homework, like you don't have enough, I want you to write a release list. Things that come up for you, about you, your life, behavior, emotion, whatever it is, just anything and everything that comes up for you that you know is no longer working. Write a release list. Write as much as you can. And tonight is a great night to, even if this is the only thing that you do today, this would be so fucking powerful and amazing. Write a release list of everything that you want to get rid of. Mentally, emotionally, anything that comes up. Burn it. If you can't burn it, rip it up. Burn it. And set, like, intentionality is so powerful and amazing. Set the intention of letting it go. I mean, we're going to dig in more to really let it go. But write a release list. Even if you don't get it completed and burn it and everything else, that is totally fine. You can't fuck any of this up, okay? However you do it is right for you. So don't be hard on yourself. But write, or at least start, write a release list of things that are not working. Because these are also things that we're going to keep in mind later when we start talking about standards and boundaries. Because we're going to make some really big changes internally and mentally. And they're going to make some significant impacts in your life. So write a release list. Do your awareness, write it down. Journal on whatever comes up. Start cleaning, decluttering. Even if you just start small with like a closet, something, as every little space that you do. We're women, start with like your makeup space. Mine is currently a mess. I need to declutter mine at the moment. But start wherever you feel you need to start. Just start. Start. That is the hardest part. That is the first step. Start. You made the decision to be here. You are ready to start. So do not let your ego talk you out of why you can't start, because it will. It'll give you a million reasons and excuses why you can't do it, why you don't have time for it, why it's not going to work, why. And every time those whys kick in, say, but what if? What if I do have the time? What if it does work? What if it does make a difference? Just start contradicting it with a what if to give the bitch a sandwich and shut it up. Shutting up the ego. We're going to talk about more of that. So, that is it for today. Love you all. I am so glad that you are here, and I cannot wait to see you on the next call. Bye.